Hello, everybody. This is Xeminan, coach of the new Haven Charizards, bringing you the draft analysis for our team in the Lonely Draft League, Season 11 in the Gigantamax League on Wi-Fi. So, we're recording episodes again this season. Last season was on Showdown, so I think most people kind of took off from recording, but LDL's back on Sword and Shield. So this is going to be really exciting, and today we're going to go over our draft for this season, how it went down, and thoughts and processes and everything. Hopefully I'll try to keep it moving relatively quickly so I don't waste too much of your time. So let's start right away. I had the 9th pick out of 12 coaches in GMAX this year. Last season we had like a weird 7-7 split in the draft. Because the Pokemon pool was less, because it was only the 400 that were in the base Sword and Shield games. So now that we added a bunch, thanks to the Isle of Armor DLC, now it's all one draft pool again. So I was the 9th pick out of 12, so I didn't have a wheel pick, but I knew I was going to be picking relatively close to each other. So I knew I had to draft in cores. So this pick actually got some confusion from the draft analysis stream with Squid and Thumb Brother. They thought this was too early of a pick. In my first overall pick is ROTOM-WASH. I think Rotom is a great Pokemon, and they thought it was too early. I would agree with them, but the context of it was I knew I was picking Alolan Ninetales right away in the second round because I knew nobody else was going to take Ninetales second. So this ROTOM-WASH was a preemptive pick to make sure it didn't get sniped in round 3 or something like that, because I don't think ROTOM-WASH would have made it all the way back to me round 3 pick 9. I think someone would have taken it by then. So it looks confusing as the first pick on its own, but ROTOM-WASH covers the steel and fire weakness that Alolan Ninetales has, and you're going to see that Ninetales is like a huge is a crucial member of the draft this year for me. So hopefully that makes, for the guys who were watching who were confused why I took Rotom in the first round, hopefully that makes more sense now because it was covering my Ninetales weakness here. But Rotom's a great defogger. I worry about hitting Hydro Pump. I worry about connecting with Will-O-Wisp or whatever. But I think it's a great Pokemon. I can run fast or defensive. So let's get into that next pick, which was Alolan Ninetales. For anyone who's been following me from my beginning of my draft league days back in 2018 in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, Alolan Ninetales is like arguably one of my signature Pokemon that I draft as often as I can. That would be, I would say, quote unquote signature, because I usually do pair it with Alolan SANDSLASH, and you'll see that later. Spoilers. But I genuinely think I'm pretty strong with Hail. I like choosing Hail over some of the other options like Sand in draft leagues, because usually Sand gets pretty contested with Tyranitar and Gigalith and Hippowdon and Excadrill and stuff. So usually Hail is not contested, and I think Aurora Veil is just it's absolutely phenomenal. It's like the strongest thing that Pokemon has created in generations with this Gen 7 Alolan Ninetales. So yeah, this is definitely the crux of the team right here, and you're going to see what we draft around this on the team is going to be Pokemon that can really, sweepers that really utilize Aurora Veil well. Not every pick is based off of how well they can carry in under Aurora Veil, because sometimes I might not bring Ninetales, or some weeks I won't even be able to set up Aurora Veil. If I'm facing off against like a Sun team or a Rain team or something like that. But usually you'll see the sweepers I have are going to be able to really take advantage of being behind those screens. And so this is the first sweeper we decided to take in the draft this year with my 3rd round pick in Scolipede. Now Squid was talking about he thought this might have been too early of a pick for Scolipede. I think I would tend to agree with him. I probably did pick this a little too early. I might have been able to get Scolipede on the way back in round 4, or even all the way back or coming up in round 5 potentially. I don't know what it would have taken. I just think Swords Dance, or Protect behind the Aurora Veil on that first turn to get the speed boost is just really powerful from Scolipede. We'll see if it actually connects on its Mega Horns and its Aqua Tails and, you know, whatever, because the disadvantage of taking Scolipede now is I used it in Gen 7 where I pretty much always gave it a Z move, and we don't have Z moves. We also don't have Dynamaxing, and Dynamaxing is banned this season. We had in last season, but for this season on Wi-Fi, it's banned. So I don't have the option to guaranteed hit my moves with Scolipede like I did in Gen 7, which could be unfortunate. So I kind of regret this pick, honestly. Maybe I could have went with something else. I could have went with something stronger, but we'll see. Maybe Scolipede is going to put in work this season, because now I don't know what weeks I'm going to bring it, because I have a lot of good sweepers under Veil or behind Veil, so I don't know what weeks I'm going to decide Scolipede over some of the other sweepers. And one of those sweepers is CONKELDUR. CONKELDUR is a Pokemon I've drafted a lot in many different leagues. I just think Flame Orb, Guts, Mach Punch is sometimes unstoppable, the amount of pressure that CONKELDUR can put out, and you don't really have to care about its slow speed. One thing I do, though, typically when I take Conk is I try to get Trick Room as an option, so he can try to either win with a fast Mach Punch, or I can try to be slower and get a lot of recovery with like Drain Punch or coverage and Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, whatever. So I think CONKELDUR is going to be really strong this season, and something my opponents are going to have to prep for a lot. He also gets Defog. I don't know if I'm ever going to run Defog on it, because I don't know if I'll have the move slots for it, but CONKELDUR is my first slow Pokemon that you're going to see this season. And it's going to start a trend here, because there were not a lot of... I realized I didn't have a Stealth Rock user at this point. And there really aren't a lot of great Stealth Rock users left in the draft, in my opinion, starting in round 5 here. So I think Rhyperior, he can use Rock Polish, you know, setting up, boosting its speed while I'm behind Aurora Veil. Even just using it as a Stealth Rock, or using it as Lightning Rod, you know, switch in or whatever, or, you know, go for like you trying to live a 4-time super effective attack with Solid Rock. Like, I think Rhyperior can be pretty strong here. Obviously, it'd be better if I had Dynamax, but I don't have it this season. But yeah, I think this pick is fine. Like right now, how the team is right now, I think it's pretty solid in these first 5 picks. You know, my speed tiers are a little all over the place, but I have some solid sweepers in Scolipede and CONKELDUR. I have the support in ROTOM-WASH and NINETALES, and Rhyperior can be both a sweeper and support with Stealth Rocks and stuff. So I like where the team is going, but I will say I think my draft kind of falls off later on, and you know, you guys can let me know if you would disagree with me or not. But I don't think it's too strong here, and this is the first spot. So Matt and the Winnipeg Jellicents picked right before us. He was pick 8 every round. And right in this spot, I was choosing Chandelure. Like, I had already locked it in on the site. I chose what I said I want to draft Chandelure, and he sniped Chandelure 1 pick right before me. And I was devastated, because Chandelure would give me 80 speed. It would be the Ghost and Fire, like, fast coverage I needed, because I could use Scarf, I could use Choice Specs, like... This team really needed Chandelure to properly function, honestly. So I had to pivot. Also on the Rhyperior pick, I should have chose Arcanine. I got greedy and I thought Arcanine was gonna make it back, and he didn't. So that's two rounds in a row that I lost out on really good fire types. So I had to pivot and choose Alolan Marowak. Now I do like Alolan Marowak. I think it actually hits really really strongly for a lot of damage. People aren't prepared for it. And you know, because the problem is, like, you have to run Thick Club most of the time to do damage, obviously, so like you can kind of predict, or my opponent has like easier team building around it because they can expect the Thick Club. Like, and maybe there's a week I can go kind of like supportive with like a Pinch Berry and Toxic and some more supportive things, and Stealth Rock, and but I think Marowak is a really strong attacker. It's just the only problem is he is so slow. So now I have CONKELDUR, Rhyperior, and Marowak 3 picks in a row that were really slow, and I knew I was going to draft a Trick Roomer right after this. So I decided to go with REUNICLUS, who was still on the board at 14 points too, making it this, what is that, round 7, right? So REUNICLUS is a fantastic special attack. It's not as it can be bulky if you invest in it. Not as bulky as I would like, but you can run Life Orb, Magic Guard. You can run Regenerator strategies with like leftovers, so you can try to set up Trick Room multiple times, or get your Calm Mind boost up. You can it also has Overcoat, which is really nice because I have NINETALES, and so you'll see in some matchups like week 1 where I'm facing Matt with Sand. I have Hail and he has Sand, so like the odds that a weather on the field is going to have residual damage that Overcoat negates is really strong. So I think REUNICLUS is going to be a tough matchup for my opponents to try to figure out what type of set and what type of ability it's going to be using every week. Again, this is a Pokemon I used in Gen 7 with Z moves for Z Focus Blast or Z Thunder. Now I'm going to have to rely on hitting those 70% accurate moves. So, now I've got Scolipede who can miss, I've got Rotom who can miss, Rhyperior can miss, REUNICLUS. Like, I have a lot of things that worry me with my accuracy, so maybe I have to like set up gravity or something to make sure I don't miss. But you can see we're very slow right now. A lot of Pokemon like under 50 speed, and then 86 in Rotom, 109 in NINETALES, and 112 in Scolipede. Like, so we're missing a lot of speed here. Now this was definitely a reach of a pick. I always knew from the beginning I was going to take Alolan SANDSLASH, but because I had the Chandelure sniped away from me, I got really nervous. And you could say that I shouldn't have taken SANDSLASH yet, and I would actually agree with you, but I was so nervous that it was just someone was going to take it, like on a wheel pick they would choose like Vanillish SANDSLASH, that I took it this early, and I probably regret this, and you're going to see later on in the draft, because it's someone a Pokemon I really wanted to take that was gone by the time it did. But SANDSLASH is one of my signature draft league Pokemon. It's actually the first draft league I was ever in, the CanOcast draft league. I made it to the finals with NINETALES and SANDSLASH was my team KO leader that season. I think I was like 9-1 or something, or maybe it was 8-1. I can't remember what it was that season, but basically when SANDSLASH came in with Hail, I was able to end the game pretty much every time. So I love SANDSLASH. It can be used defensively. Obviously, it gets destroyed by fire attacks, but its typings actually make other things resist it very well. Someone, if they want to tech like a Flash Cannon or Iron Head or something to hit the NINETALES, I resist that, or I guess it'd be neutral technically, but I just think it's a really strong sweeper that I don't have to bring every week, but my opponent has to be prepped for it because they know how much it can go off in a battle. So maybe I took it too early, or no, not maybe. I absolutely took it too early, but I'm happy that I was able to secure it before it got sniped away. This pick on Umbreon next round, this was on the way back. I realized I didn't have a lot of special defense on my team. I had a lot of, I had some more defensive Pokemon in Rhyperior and Alolan Marowak and, CONKELDUR and stuff. Like, REUNICLUS is kind of split, Rotom is kind of split. So I realized I needed a special defense wall. Some of the other options I'd wanted were already gone, but I think Umbreon it's always going to be a strong utility Pokemon where I have Synchronize to punish them for trying to Toxic me, Heal Bell to cure the status away, Wish, Protect, Baton Pass, Foul Play. There's a lot of fun things you can do with Umbreon. And there's not many things that can just one-hit KO it outright in the league. I know there are a couple, obviously, but I think the Umbreon I think this was a safe pick because, excuse me, sorry for the cough. Sorry about that. I think this was a safe pick because at this point I didn't know what to do with my draft, where I was like what direction I was going. But again, it is another really slow Pokemon, another bulky Pokemon. Now, this was the next snipe, and it was also from Matt again. So he, right before I picked, took the Chandelure, and right before I picked, took the Serena. And I needed Serena on this team as a rapid spinner, having one of those mid speeds in the 70s where I could either be fast or be bulky and slow, had U-turn access. Like, Serena was crucial to this team, and right before I went to draft, it was taken away. So this is 2 times that the Winnipeg Jealousies took things I really wanted, which really hurts, but it's good to know that somebody else also wants things you want, because then that shows that you're drafting well, you're drafting good Pokemon. So I chose Lurantis, another extremely slow Pokemon, but the thought process behind this was, well, it does get defogged, and if I want to sweep with it, going for superpowers behind Aurora Veil while it gets set up could be a deadly, late game sweep. Obviously, I can't try to go for that early because he'll still have, my opponents will still have multiple checks to Lurantis. If this thing was a little faster, it'd be better. But again, just look how slow my team is. So I had to make sure that I could always have ways of getting Trick Room up. So the next pick, I went with another Psychic type. I know, 2 Psychic types, but this time around I chose CLAYDOL, 1 because it gets Trick Room, and 2 because it gets Teleport. REUNICLUS does not get Teleport. So I wanted a Trick Roomer who also has Rapid Spin. So CLAYDOL just has a lot of utility for the team. Not only could set up Trick Room, catch them off guard where I set up Trick Room, but then when they switch something in the following turn to try to target down the CLAYDOL, I have Teleport, and I have that Teleport priority, so I can switch into the sweeper that I want to take advantage of it. Set up Trick Room and then teleport into CONKELDUR, and they brought in a Dark type to handle CLAYDOL. Well, now they're facing CONKELDUR with his Flame Orb up, and he's got Trick Room up, so he doesn't have to go for Mach Punch. He can go for a really strong Drain Punch or Close Combat or something. So that was the thought process behind this. I know I doubled up in the Psychic types, and then Marowak is also weak to Ghost and Dark. So I am a little weak to those. I do have Ninetales for the Dark type, Umbreon for Dark types and Ghost types. So I have a couple of things, but I'm really not too strong against those typings. But this last pick, I just had absolutely way too many points left over, and I had no idea what I wanted to take. If you look at my team right now, most people, usually they'll take 16 points, 15 points, 14, 13, 12, or whatever their first couple rounds, but I've got a 9, I've got an 8, I got a 3 in SANDSLASH, 2 4s in Lurantis and CLAYDOL. So I had way too many points left, so I just chose the best thing I could think of that was very high, and I didn't have a dragon yet, so I went with KOMMO-O. Now, KOMMO-O does not get Clangorous Soul in our league, it's banned, so I can't sweep that way, but there's other ways I can sweep with Dragon Dance, or I think KOMMO-O has the Iron Defense Body Press set that's very popular with a lot of Pokemon in Gen 8 now. So this, I don't expect to bring KOMMO-O a lot, but it also gets access to Stealth Rock, which is nice, because I only have a couple of rockers right now. I think this KOMMO-O could be very versatile in the situations that I bring it in. And, maybe it's good to counter other dragon types if I go a Scarf set on it. Not too sure. But we'll see how many times I bring KOMMO-O. I'm not too sure. I just had to draft something because I had, I still have a significant amount of points left over. I think I had 8 points left over or something after drafting my full team. I don't know the exact number. I can't remember. But I can definitely make some transactions because I have the points available to me, which is nice. Say I don't like Lurantis and there's a better grass type that becomes available later on. I can switch out Lurantis because I have the additional points available. But yeah, overall, I'm not too satisfied with my draft here, to be completely honest. I know my first 2 picks, I was hard-headed because I went in knowing I wanted Rotom and Ninetales, so that I didn't really adapt to the board, to the draft. Jirachi was still open in round 1, and because I was so hard-headed at the beginning, it really kind of messed up the latter half of my draft. So I'm like very slow. I had to compensate for that by getting 2 Trick Room users. A couple of snipes really hurt, but there's nothing you can do, obviously, because everybody's going to get sniped a couple of times. Like, can I make playoffs? Maybe. I hope so. You know, hopefully I can win a couple of games this season and make it into the playoffs in the LDL. Hopefully we can do better. Excuse me. Hopefully we can do better than last season, which was just barely scraping into the league and staying out of relegation. Just literally by like 1 differential, we survived relegation. So, yeah, these are your New Haven Charizards for the LDL Season 11. Thank you to Jetman for the graphics. Shout outs to Jetman. He does a great job with these graphics, obviously, but with running the LDL and everything like that. Jetman does a great job. So make sure you watch. Make sure you follow along, and you see the Twitter for the Lonely Draft League. We have a Discord as well you can join. It's gonna be a fun season. A lot of people uploading this season. 3 teams are looking to become the first 3-time champion. I'm looking to become the first 1-time champion for me. Maybe I can eventually catch up to those guys, but that's gonna do it for me. I'll see you guys in week 1, and for now, this is Xeminan and the New Haven Charizards signing off.